Hello everyone, my name is Maral. Now I'm going to present you my capstone project entitled Mobile Assisted Language Learning, a case study of using Söyle. My advisor was Lily Zhang. So here is my outline. First of all, I'm going to present you my thesis and then importance of the project. Afterwards, research questions and methodology, and finally, key findings, limitations, and some suggestions. So here's my thesis statement. While Söyle could be an easy-to-use and accessible tool for learning Kazakh language, autonomous use of it is not the most effective way. It has some limitations in terms of pedagogical and SLA frameworks because results of tests demonstrated that effectiveness is questionable. Söyle doesn't adapt to individual needs, individual language proficiency levels, and styles of learning. So why this project is important? According to Statista.com, in the last year, number of smartphone users were 3.5 billion, tablet users were 1.28 billion, and this number is expected to increase by 2023 is going to be 7.33 billion. And number of downloaded mobile apps is 204 billion. Furthermore, global market size of digital language learning industry comprises 5.2 billion euros, and market size of learning languages other than English using mobile-assisted language learning comprises 500 million euros. And considering all these facts listed, number of studies on Kazakh language learning applications is equal to 0. So it is crucial to study this topic. And to do that, I have analyzed, sort out 11 free applications. These are Slava.com, Anatole, Söyle, Söyle, Alüpé, and so on and so forth. And they were analyzed according to the framework suggested by Reinders and Pegram in 2016. They have suggested this framework for evaluating mobile language learning applications. And they have stated that comprehensible input, comprehensible output, negotiation of meaning in interaction, and an effective feedback are the core requirements of effective SLA. And on the basis of this study, I have analyzed all these 11 applications and have chosen Söyle application because it was free, it was accessible on both Android and iOS for everyone, and it didn't require in-app purchases. So I have decided to analyze Söyle application. And afterwards, the Söyle application itself had undergone comprehensive and systematic review. And this analysis was based on a wide range of criteria taken from the study done by Hale et al. In 2016. Hale et al. Had analyzed 50 commercially available language learning applications to identify the primary pedagogical focuses of popular language learning application, and in order to identify if applications adapt to individual needs, language proficiency levels, and styles of learning. And this framework was also utilized within the study by Pilar Monday within a study entitled "The Case for Using Duolingo as Part of the Language Classroom Experience." So I decided to implement this framework within my study as well. So there were identified many different aspects of Söyle application. So here I decided to emphasize some of them. First of all, the first drawback was that application pays more attention to words as isolated units. It doesn't provide different contexts for a word. Also, it doesn't assess the proper pronunciation of words. Moreover, feedback is also was done in a not effective way. It has some limitations in providing even simple textual corrections. And it only indicates the mistakes via visual stimulus. However, it has a very good advantage that it uses effectively the songs, passages, and dialects in order to introduce different words, phrases, and so on and so forth. It was stated by Hale et al. That These songs, passages, and dialogues are very rare within language learning application. Um, so here are research questions. First question is, to what extent does the Söyle app meet the requirements of SLA and pedagogy frameworks? Then, what linguistic gains are made by participants who exclusively use the Söyle app for autonomous study of L2 Kazakh? Next question is, how does age affect the acquisition of L2 through mobile-assisted language learning? And the last research question is, what is the experience of participants using this application? So here is my methodology. As you can see on the left side, there is an information about participants. There were 4 participants, and it was enough because this is only a case study. And these participants had very different backgrounds of their L1, of their age, and everything. And my tools were tests, pre-tests and post-tests on the basis of CAS test, which is available online. It was a diagnostic testing, which excludes writing tasks. It only tests students for listening, lexicogrammatical structure, and reading. And also, after the pretest, they were required to use Söyle application during 1 month, and I have recommended to use with a frequency of 5 hours per week. And after this use, they were passing a post-test, and after the post-test, we had a questionnaire. We had an interview with them to define the experience of using Söyle. So here are key findings of this pre and post-tests. As you can see, in the pre-tests, participants' knowledge doesn't differ a lot. Their levels were A1 and A2 with some variations depending on blocks of tasks. And after that, we have results of post-tests. And here we see that general trend is upward. 2 of participants have increased their results, for some sections still B1. However, this is very controversial results because some participants had lower scores than in their pre-tests. And after the post-test, we had a questionnaire. Here are some examples of questions. For example, how many hours per week had you used Söyle? Or what were advantages and disadvantages of using Söyle? And another example is, would you recommend Söyle to anyone? So here are limitations and suggestions for further studies. To conclude, the autonomous use of this application is barely effective regardless of age. And to make it, and the main limitation of this study is the small number of participants. It was only a case study. And in order to have more accurate results, it is necessary to conduct more extended research on Kazakh language learning applications. And also results here could be misleading. First of all, because participants didn't meet requirements of frequency of use. As I mentioned before, I have recommended them to use it at least 5 hours per week. However, no one fulfilled this requirement. And if they have met the requirements, probably the results would be less questionable. And also, one participant claimed that some questions from the pre-test were repeated on the post-test. So it is a fault of CAS test database, and this repetition of questions could also make the results misleading. So that's it, and thank you for your attention.